If you are on Zoom, please turn your camera on. And I'm going to go through roll call. Let me put the agenda up on the screen. All right. If I read your name, please say here, present, or thumbs up. I don't care. Senator Price. Senator Manning's excused. Senator Barrett, excused. Senator Vargas. Senator Waller. Senator Rojas. Senator Tran is excused. Senator McCain. Senator Ocampo. Senator McNamara. Senator Buchanan. Senator Scott. Senator McQuarrie. Senator Kirkby. Senator Gossett.
Here.
Senator Kai.
Here.
Senator O. Senator Lizama. Senator Carnes. Senator McGinnis. Senator Holman. Okay, got you. Senator Santee. Senator Reed. Senator King. Senator Uden.
Present.
Senator Minnick. Senator McAdams is excused. Senator Govea. Senator Niet. Senator Harlan. Senator Mattern.
Here.
Senator Khan.
Yes, sir.
Senator Shepard.
Here.
Senator Okiki.
Here.
Chief Justice Burleson. All right, I'm going to go ahead and move towards the approval of last week's minutes. Let me stop share here and find the correct document. There we go. All right. You've had a moment to look at the minutes from last week's meeting. Does anybody have any objections, questions, comments, or concerns, points of information? Seeing none, I entertain a motion to vote and approve last week's minutes. All in favor, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. All opposed? Any abstentions? All right, seeing none, that passes. And last week's minutes are approved. Let me go ahead and move towards the next agenda item. Is anybody here for open forum? All right, seeing none, we will move towards speaker's podium. We have the Dean of Students, Andy Petit, and Assistant Director of Residence Life, Christian Worsham, here to present to us. Please give them your best attention, and any questions, comments, or concerns, please address till they're done with the presentation. I hand it over to you.
So happy November. And I am reminded by you in the back here who has a holiday Starbucks drink, which I heard was released yesterday. It was well, when do they start doing the buy one, get one free?
That's over the summer.
Maybe that's the day where you can buy one holiday drink and you get another one for free. I don't know. Maybe they don't do that anymore. But anyway, how's everyone's semester treating you so far?
Good.
It's October, November 3rd, right? We're ready to be done. All right. Are you graduating if you're ready to be done, or you just want to put the fall 2022 behind us? I know you are. All right. Who's graduating this semester? All right. All right. We're getting there. Christian's graduating too. All right. So semester's been going okay. We're ready for it to get done. Is it going as fast for y'all as it is for me? Yeah, this is crazy, right? All right. Anyway, I just wanted to check the pulse of the room and see how we're doing. The reason that Christian and I are here, and it's really Christian, she is the orchestrator of the smoothest housing returning student sign up in the history of UT Tyler. So a couple things that we have done, I'm just going to foreshadow what Christian's going to walk y'all through to tell you what we're going to do, how we fixed a lot of the challenges from last year that created anxiety for you, or even a little bit heartache in terms of where you were living, who you were living with, and what that looks like. So many of you know we bought StarRes, which is a new housing software system that is like the Cadillac of housing software systems. It has a lot more functionality. Christian is the orchestrator of implementing that program here. And Christian came to me in the summer and said, this thing has so much cool stuff to do. And so she started digging into it. She learned how to write code, right? She learned how to work with I don't know how to write code. If you all do, I think that's pretty cool, but I don't know how to do it. So Christian dug in, worked with StarRes, got the system where we love it to be to make this process smooth. She built new modules. And this is all based on the feedback that we received last year from the housing selection process. Many of you may be aware that we had to make a shift in philosophy, meaning we had to prioritize and have to, and will continue to have to prioritize first and second year students in the residence halls based on our live on requirement, right? So last year was the first year that we did that. It was a little glitchy. Some of you may remember our old system maybe had a little, we had to have a redo the next day because we inundated the system. We have a new system. We've done some tremendous things to it. And so I'm going to stop talking and let the master of this process talk to you about the ways that we're going to improve the process, the ways that I think will help us in terms of communicating so that you know that you're not anxious about jumping in and having your friends jump in on the system and everybody and your mom and your brother, because that's what crashed the system last year. So everyone was nervous. Everybody was anxious. So we're going to take that out of the equation and lay it out to you all so that you see it, you understand it. You may still not like me at the end of the day, and I'll try really hard to be likable, but we won't always be able to make everybody happy because we just don't have the space. And as soon as we get new residence halls built, we'll probably fill those and then we'll need more. But for the time being, this is the best way that we can meet your needs, reduce your anxiety, and respond to the feedback and suggestions that you all gave us last spring and over the summer. And so without further ado, our Assistant Director of Housing Operations, few short weeks, Christian Worsham.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. Yes, as Andy said, my name is Christian Worsham. I am the Assistant Director of Housing Operations. I am the, I guess you could say, the person behind the curtain that makes this stuff happen. You know, in the process, and I've been here for many years. I'm an alum myself. I lived on myself. I've been in our program for almost 5 years now, in the housing program and specifically. So I've seen, you know, the complaints, the concerns, the problems, the crashing, I want to live on, I can't. I want to get this roommate, I can't. I do. All of it. I've been there. I've experienced it personally. And so really in getting this new software, I wanted to keep all those things in mind and really create a process, as Andy said, to keep each individual student in mind in that process. And in doing so, today I wanted to go over what process we came up with based off your feedback to make this process run as smoothly as possible. So I guess I'll have Landry click through it. It's going to be kind of like a demonstration. There are screen grabs to show. I don't know, actually, before I get started, I would love to see a show of hands of who all currently lives on campus. Okay, so vast majority, that's really cool. How many of you guys who just raised your hand have logged into our new housing portal? Okay, but you know, we still can get better. We can get better. I'm just kidding. But it's a really awesome new portal. It's the same process you get to it as you would have prior through My AT Tyler. And we're going to go through all of that in these slides, but you know, it's a really awesome system. So we'll get started. I just was curious how many of you guys lived on campus would be impacted by something like this, and how many of you have already seen some of the changes. So with that, we'll go ahead and get started. If you can just click the next slide. He's giving you a quick preview. Okay. And we're done. I hope you love it. Okay, so for those of you who have not logged on before to our portal, on the screen is a picture of what the main page of our housing portal looks like. So as you can see, you know, and you can see different things. I put special rules. There are certain people can see certain things. So if you don't live in room, right, you're not in room, you can see certain things. Like on the left-hand side, there's widgets for things like registering an animal, completing a cancellation form, going on that little, you can click on the car to take you to buy your parking pass, like just specific things to direct you to the right directions for students who live on campus, as well as show you your meal plan if you had one, your current assignments, your future assignments, and your future roommates. So if this is information that you see, you know, in the future, you wanting to know, or maybe you don't know it now, log on. So on there, as I said, you can also complete work orders on here, and on the top banner is usually where our applications will live. So you guys can see there's a big blue banner, and then there's that smaller orange one. And you can actually see right up there, it says academic year 23-24 application and waiver. That is exactly what our returning students will click when the application opens to complete the application. Say that you've decided, you know what, actually, I feel I'm ready to spread my wings and I don't want to live on. You still need to complete a housing waiver, or we urge all of our students to complete a housing waiver. It's required for our freshmen and sophomores who have the requirement, but even for returning students, I would love to have you submit a waiver. That helps us, you know, track kind of where our students are at. You can fill it out, and that's in the same process of what we're going to go over today, and I'll show you that as well. So that's our portal, the main page. Here you can see there's like, I know the technical term is an ellipses. I call it a hamburger. You can drop it down and you can see even more options. So if you were an on-campus student, you have things like roommate agreements. Again, another way to get to your cancellation form, how to register an animal. And then around move-in time, or say you wanted to be an RA, you may be directed to go to appointments to sign up for a time for check-in, check-out, an interview, anything. All those things would be communicated, but appointments would be the term to look for if you're looking for something like that. Okay, so now we're going to get into the actual application process of itself. So the application process in of itself is very similar, right? The questions that we're asking, you know, none of that has changed. It just is going to be, it'll look a little bit different, the dates, the times in which these things will be completed, but the actual like meat of the application itself is very much the same. So this first page, when you get on, is your opportunity to select whether you want to live with university owned or operated housing. This is actually a drop-down menu to choose between university owned or operated or University Pines. If you are a student who opted to go to the University Pines route, it would redirect you to their third-party website where you can complete an application and follow their process from there. Their application process is independent, so that's where you would differentiate that right there. If you select this UT Tyler Managed one that's shown on the screen and you hit the Save and Continue button, it will take you to the next page where you pick the term that you're applying for. So obviously today we're going over this next upcoming academic year contract, but we do currently have a spring application only on, not for our returning students. You already got a bed. But for students who don't currently live on, you would see a different term. So that changes per application process, but you can see below there, it'll list the term dates. So you can prepare, you can know, okay, when does my term start? When will I essentially be moving in around? And will I be moving out around? So when you're signing that contract, you're automatically being given those dates. So that's what those are. And then you'd hit apply. And this is our welcome page. So basically the welcome page is just kind of going over the mission of our department, that we aim obviously to provide, inviting, clean housing for as many students and all students as possible. And then down there at the bottom is where that waiver process would kick in. So if you were one of those students who decided, you know what, I want to live off, I'm eligible to live off campus, this is where you would go. And instead of selecting no down there, it would be a drop-down menu and you could select yes. If you select yes, it directs you to that waiver process. If you select no, then you continue on through the actual application process. I did a little, I don't know the technical term for that, symbol to show you. It lists out all of the steps of the application process. So you can see as you're going through it, you can see how much you have left. I had run through the full thing, except for awaiting contract signature. So you can see that there's green check boxes along the side that tells me where I'm at in the process. So you'll fill out your personal details, addresses. If you're under the age of 18 and you're applying, you must have, I guess, a guarantor. You'll complete a proxy form. So, for our returning students, that shouldn't be the case, but, just in case, that is in the application process if you're under the age of 18 at application time. And we'll keep going. Okay. This is where things start to look a little bit different. So we've gone through the personal details, we've done the addresses, you've picked your meal plan, you've signed your contract, and now it's time to do roommates. The feedback we got, most of it, was resounding like, we want to live with people who we want to live with, right? You've gone to school, you've made connections, you have friends, you want to live with certain people, okay? Totally hear you. I was the same way. So to accomplish both asks, right? You not only do you want this person you want to live with, but you want a specific room. That's a tough task when we're very short on beds. So that is where our challenge really lied. And how can we give returning students both the opportunity to select their preferred roommate and also give them the ability to pick their preferred bed, right? So this is where things start to look a little bit different, but again, strictly just trying to provide you guys the best experience, the least amount of stress, and really just listen to the feedback we've received. We'll go over exact dates, but essentially the application would open at the beginning of January and allow all returning students to complete all of the steps prior and start to do this roommate preference. So just for that first week, all you can do is fill out your application and do roommate matching. There's no bed selection, no stress. You're just getting in, you can go in there, you can fill it out, be like, oh, I know I want to live with Savannah. I'm gonna get in here, I'm gonna go find Savannah, I'm gonna fill out my stuff, I'm gonna take the week. I have all week, no stress about it. You make a roommate group. I'm gonna be the group leader. So I started the group, right? I logged in, I looked for Savannah, I found her, that makes me the group leader, right? I facilitated my roommate group. Is that making sense so far? Okay. So as you can see on that page, that's kind of where you would go to search people. So you can look them up by first name, last name, email, and a screen name. Maybe they picked, I don't know, something fun and you knew it. You could look it up and then you'd hit the search button, or you can look people up. And this is my favorite part about Stara, honestly, is this roommate matching is so much better. It not only shows you can go to the next page. Not only can you look for people that you already know to look for, but say you didn't. You got here last year, you met some people, but you're like, I don't think I want to live with them. You could actually go to that. There's a button that says suggest roommates, and you'll see a screen similar to this where it will show people who have completed the roommate, survey, and it'll tell you how much you match with them. So you can make an informed decision on who you want to room with. So it'll tell you. So say I said I want to live with Savannah, and I'm like, you know what? I just think we'd really be awesome roommates. And then I log in here and we have a 10% match. Probably not the smartest decision for me to continue to go in that direction. You still can, but at least you can go in knowing what your percentage of match is with those individuals. So hopefully we can prevent roommate conflicts, try and match you guys up to the best of your ability. So yeah, that's a little fun thing about it. It tells you their gender. They have the ability to put a little description about themselves. So you could look at that too. And you can also fill out the questionnaire and see what you differed in. So That's the roommate matching process. And that's what will happen in that first week when things open up. So just allowing you guys to take the time that you need to find the correct people, fill out the application without stress. On here, you can see what it looks like when you send a request. So you can see outgoing request, if it's been accepted, you can view their profile. So here you can see that we are in a group. So this is what it would look like once your group is formed. You can see who is the group leader, and it'll tell you, you know, it'll say like you can search for each other, you can set each other, but also say I did set my roommate group and I'm like, you know what? No, you can cancel it. It's not set in stone. And they do get alerts. You get an email when you're invited into a group, and you get an email once your people have accepted. Or if someone just suddenly left your group, you would know. You would get an email and say, this person disbanded the roommate group. So all of this is communicated throughout the whole process, but this is what it would look like. And this is the page where you can make changes. So after your roommate group was formed. So any questions? That's pretty much the bulk of the roommate matching of the process.
So my question is if I go ahead and send a request, does that automatically take them off of the roster like anyone else can't?
Once the person accepts the roommate request, yes. Yeah. Anything else? And I'll leave it open. I know that this is kind of new, so I just want to allow the space for a question before I just really start and get into the weeds of things. So, okay, yes. All righty. If no other questions, we'll keep going. Okay, this is a lot of words. Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Ashlyn.
I'm on the portal right now and I couldn't see anything that you just did. All I have is is that what you were saying too, just because it's closed? Like I can't go to sign anything?
Correct.
It just says welcome and then returning student application closed.
Yes, the application is not open at this time for returning students. That's what we're going to get into in this long slide, is what lovely dates you can be prepping for as a returning student to apply. As of right now,
so
it is
what it looks like when we go to apply though.
Yes, once it's open, yes. But
okay, thank you.
Yes. Okay, so this is a lot of information and I'm going to go over it. So I'm going to come over here so I can read it a little bit better with you guys. Okay, so as we went over, the roommate matching will happen the week before for returning students. So that week, it'll begin at 10 a.m. on January 3rd, which is a Tuesday due to campus closure on Monday. So that's the week right before classes start. All returning students will be able to log into the portal that week before and do that full process we just went through, right? They'd be able to get in there. You'd be able to sign your contract, pay any app fees or anything you may have if you have to pay that. You can set up your roommate groups. You can get really settled in there, define who you want to live with in that week. And then after that week is over, there'll be no more roommate selection. It'll close down. You can still cancel or whatever, disband your group, but the roommate matching will be strictly for that week. After that week is over, that is when room, like actual bed selection, will begin. Okay. So we understand it kind of what was mentioned in that question just now on the portal. If you logged in right now, it's closed. It's not open for our returning students. You're going to continue to see that close until January 3rd. Get for that week. It will not let you past it. After that, it'll then open up even further on the following dates. So if you are in a roommate group, I don't know if I have any, do I have any sophomores in the room right now? So you'll be a junior, right? You'd be applying. So it's going based off of your cumulative hours. You can see down here, room selection will begin. If I'm a senior, right? I'm in grad school, but I'm a senior in undergrad, right? I would fit into the Wednesday 11th seniors, right? If I was a group leader, it's going to open for me at that time to go select my beds for my roommate group. So it's just me that would have to log in and select the beds for my roommate group. So it's no more of a roommate group of 4 all logging in, trying to hustle around and find a bed. It's the roommate leader picks the bed for the group, right? The roommate group leader can only see beds that their group can fit into also. So that kind of reduces the stress of like, well, can we get in? Can we get this? I want to be here. It allows less traffic on the portal and allows people to be able to book themselves more easily. So we'll go over the dates. As Andy did mention and preface with, we do have that freshman and sophomore residency requirement. Freshmen have their own process. Again, this is just for returning students. So our sophomores would get the first day to get in. So our individual sophomores who don't join a roommate group and our sophomores who are the group leader would have the ability to log in on Monday at 10 a.m. on the 9th and do bed selection for both their group and themselves if they weren't in a group. They have all day to do that. They're the only group will be in there. And then come Tuesday at 10 a.m., juniors and junior group leaders would also be allowed in. So at that point, both sophomores and juniors are in the portal and able to select their beds for both themselves, if not in a group, and for their groups, if they are in a group, and the group leader. If you are a group member of any of these categories, you will not be able to get to bed selection. You'll be held at a page until your roommate group leader books you. So there's no reason to be on the portal stressing, you know, like you have your group leader is the one taking care of that for you. Wednesday, it just goes on chronologically from there, right? So Wednesday from there, it would go to our seniors and then opens to everybody if we have remaining beds from there. I think that's the last slide, right? Oh, okay. And this just explains what I was saying. Basically, once the beds are full, as it happens, all group people who are maybe remaining would have the ability to add themselves to a wait list automatically. You'd be able to go in, put yourself on the wait list, and be able to remove and add yourself as you see fit. Oh yeah, your roommate group leader, if they weren't able to get a bed, would need to communicate and tell you, hey, unfortunately, beds are full. We have to put ourselves on a wait list, and you just go add yourself. And as I said, they'll only be able to see things that fit your roommate group. So, and that's that.
All right. So I wanted to add just a couple small things. I told Robert this earlier, so I feel like I should tell the whole group. One of the things that we've also done this year to make sure that we have capacity and not have the bit of the debacle we had last year where we had to start, stop, and restart, is that we're paying to have additional capacity to the server and to the software. So while we still don't want everyone logging in when you shouldn't, we're taking some additional precautions this year, spending a little bit of more money to make sure that doesn't happen. And I think that's really important. The other thing, right, is let's say you have 3 people and there's only doubles left. You're going to have to talk it out, team, right? You're going to have to talk with your roommates and figure out if there's only doubles left, somebody is going to be the odd person out, right? Mm-hmm. And that could happen, right? So the one thing that I'm warning you ahead of time is that if I were you, let's say this would never happen, me, Chloe, and Rob are going to all room together next year in Liberty Landing. But there's no triples left. I would hope that Rob, Chloe, and I were like, I don't know, on a phone call or a group chat or a WhatsApp, all those cool things to make sure that you're all aware, right? Because it's going to be a pretty nimble process. So you have to be ready to move if there's something that's not available, right? There are some very popular room layouts that students really like. So those are likely going to go faster. So my suggestion to you all, since you get the pleasure of being with Christian and I this evening, my hint to you would be ready to be nimble. Have options 1, 2, 3, and then maybe even like, what do we do if third one doesn't work out, right? So the planning is going to be important for you and your roommate group because it may not work the way that you wanted it to. Right? Does everybody got a good handle on that, be ready to communicate, be ready to work together, all of those good things.
One thing I did want to add, I know that it may seem weird, right? Like you may be like, whoa, why would you do it that way? It truly is to limit the traffic, right? To limit the stress. You have a designated day based off your classification to go in. It's not everyone fend for all, not 200 people trying to get on all at the same time. It is geared to specific populations. So I kindly ask that if you know it is not your time, please do not try. It's not going to work. And you know, we did up our thing, but trying when it's not time is what causes issues. People being on, too many people on the server. And so, you know, I just do kindly ask that while it is important to be, you know, think through your options, think through your plan accordingly. I ask that you do respect the process and understand when your times are. And in the process, I didn't directly go over it, but when you're doing the roommate matching, it tells you what we show your current hours to be. So when you're in there, it says we show you're at blank hours. If you say, well, that's not right, you have that full week to work with us, right? Or whatever, to get things squared away prior to room selection when that stuff really matters, right? And to plan accordingly with your roommates. You know who your group leader is, so you know I'm gonna have to wait here. So I maybe, you know, pick the person I feel fits us best to get us what we need, right? Oh, sorry. It's a positive.
Can we get just some comments? Tell me what you love.
Yeah.
And if you don't like something, let's hold that till the end. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but so like I'm graduating at the end of the summer, so I don't have to do any of this, but is it going to be the same type of thing for summer housing, or is it going to look different?
Summer will be much less
Okay.
intricate.
Okay. Got it.
Yes.
All right, so like say you and two other friends decide you want to get a like third roommate or a fourth roommate from just random selection. Say like y'all meet, nobody else likes them, they like you. Is the roommate like leader able to kind of kick them out of the roommate group? Or is that like it's a very negative thing, but like just for the best of things.
Yeah. So the roommate group leader could disband the group and reform a group. You can't really kick people out. You could disband the entire group. And right.
Your trio.
Yeah. Yes, correct.
And then
Ashlyn, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask how they why they chose to do sophomores, juniors, then seniors.
It's a really good question. So we have a requirement for our first year and second year students. And so we have to give preference to our first and second year students, then our juniors, and then our seniors.
Okay, thank you.
So I was curious. So say you have a group of 3 and there's a sophomore and 2 seniors. Do you go with the sophomore or whoever the group leader is? Does the senior have to be the group leader, or how does that work?
That is a decision for you to make.
That was the first of my questions, but I had a second one. What about for certain people whose jobs on campus are like they're paid by university housing? So say like RAs, pep coaches and stuff. How does that work? Like what day that they go in on? Will they go in with like sophomores and stuff, or do they still have to wait for their classification?
They would still wait for the classification. We work with departments to ensure all, requirements are met for positions. So we would meet that as it was needed if something was to come up.
All right, so when y'all say like first and second years, like is it second years by credit hours? Like the sophomores who didn't get enough credit hours and would still be considered sophomores, or like it's 2 years?
Yes, it'll be based off credit hour. Yes, university goes based off of credit hour for classification. The university.
Okay, so I guess a hypothetical. Let's say
it's hypothetical, but is it?
So if I signed the contract and then went through and found out there was no place in Liberty to live, would I be able to easily cancel that contract, or would I have to like
Yes,
pay?
absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, and please cancel. If you were going through and you got there and say you didn't do a roommate group, right? You were just a solo, you were going through, it was your time, and you're like, dang, they don't got what I want. No biggie. Send us an email, fill out a contract cancellation, and we'll get that canceled for you. I will have to, we can put that in the email. We are sending out a fall application reminder in this process email at the end of this month. I'll ensure that that's included in there. I just do not want to give this incorrect date in this meeting. So can't just off the top of the head right now, but we will ensure that that is in that meeting at the end of this month to our returning students.
Okay, my question is, if it was like a group of 3, but we wanted to live in like one of the 4 bedrooms, would it like randomly generate a 4th person, or are we going to need to like have a 4th person before we can kind of apply?
Yeah, that's a great question. So as a group, the group leader would be able to see any room option that their group fit into. So they could see a 4-bedroom, and the group leader would pick 3 beds for the 3 of you. It would leave that one space available for somebody like a senior who wanted a 4-bedroom, right, to go in and select it for themselves.
We endearingly call roommates that you don't know randos. And I assure you that if you don't have a 4th and a 4-bedroom, you will get somebody. I lived with a rando my first year and it was great. We got along fantastic. But just know that if you're a 3, in case anyone's wheels are turning, and I don't think they are, you would never get 3 students in a 4-bedroom without a 4th. So I just wanted to clarify that we will use every space on campus.
Since we're applying in the middle of the school year, are your credit hours like what you have completed or what you're expected to complete by the end of the year?
It's based off expected completion.
This is kind of going off of Emma's question, but so say that you get to the end and there's only 4 bedrooms available, but you have a 3-bedroom group. Can you then do like the roommate match and be like, okay, wait, this looks like a good roommate. I want to request to see if they can be in my group of 4 for this 4-bedroom.
Yeah, that's a little bit longer of an answer, so I don't want to lean over and answer. You can past that first week. You can disassemble the group, but you could not go form another group. That group matching, whatever, all happens in that first week, which is why we're giving it a full week to really take your time and match up with as many people as you want. So if you knew like, oh, I may want a 4th, you could always match with a 4th and pick a cool person, pick a cool rando.
Randos are great. So with the roommate groups, say you have a sophomore in there and then you have 2 seniors, like what Ben was talking about, and the sophomore just ended up forgetting and a lot of the seniors are busy with other things. Will there be a form of reminders, emails sent from housing to that sophomore to remind them to do it, or no?
We will just send reminder communication to all returning students as we would for all students. It's on the group leader to remember their time, know when their time is, and go in and select the bed for those people. As an office, improved communication is something we're actively pursuing and are actively doing. I hope that those that live on campus already feel that way. And so we are continuing to send remind communication, but not to sophomores in particular, to all returning students as soft reminders of deadlines.
Which means if you're in a group, pick somebody like Soren who's super responsible to be your group leader. Thank y'all.
Any other questions?
So it's very much appreciated from our end because things are really stressful with housing. So
Lots of months.
So thank you.
I'm just curious, for people who don't have roommate groups and they're trying to like hope that they become the rando person, how much selection do they get? Or is it just like whatever is open they get? Or do they get to see it and maybe say, oh, these are similar people with grade classification, or how does it work?
Yeah, that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. I mean, I think it's even, it's just as fair. I think there's, in my experience, there's roommate groups, but I feel like actually there's a lot more just like individuals looking for a bed. When you go into the room selection process, it'll show you availability based off what's available for you, right? Again, if you're a group leader, you'll only see what's available for your group. If you're an individual, you'll only see what you could get into. And in the room, it'll tell you who's the current occupants, right? So if that room is open for you and it's a 4-bed and there's 1 bed left, you can see who the other 3 people are. And you could go look at their profiles to kind of match yourself accordingly.
Any other questions on Zoom? All right. Well, seeing none, thank y'all so much for coming. We really appreciate it, especially this new program to hopefully not have any crashing servers. So thank y'all so much. All right. Well, let's continue on with our meeting. We'll go ahead and move right on to officer reports. This week, I had a number of meetings. I met with Vice President Ona Tolliver. I also met on the homecoming committee last Friday, which we'll discuss a little bit more just to get some feedback from y'all. But in addition to that, Tuesday, I met with President Calhoun, discussed various things with him. One of the things that he announced to me was that they do have plans, and this is a very loose term for plans, to add residence housing. And that residence housing that they plan to add would be a brand new complex right next to Liberty Landing to the right, where the corner of University Boulevard and Old Omen is, and then in addition to Ornelas Hall. So that is the plan right now, and hopefully that will aid in our bed shortage. But among other things, one of the things that he was open to was community living or living learning communities. And so this could be a number of things. I know already they kind of have some sort of system for, like, say, nursing students living together, but this could potentially be opened up to maybe organizations or something like that. And so that'll be different talks that we'll probably have as that project moves forward. In addition to that, I met with Chief Business Officer Dwayne Morris yesterday and talked about a few things. One of the things that we actually ended up talking about was parking. And weirdly enough, not because I requested to talk about it, he just wanted to. So that was awesome. But one of the things he wanted to let us know is that they are still looking for ways to improve parking, whether it be more of it or just simply be different methods. One of the different methods that they're trying to tackle right now is how bad event parking is whenever they block off parking spaces. Because in a lot of ways, we don't necessarily have too much of a parking problem, but we do have it whenever they are blocking off spaces, especially. So they're looking at ways to try and fix that, especially whenever there's events that they're hosting at like 6 p.m., but those spaces have been blocked off since 9 a.m. That doesn't make sense, but they're actively looking into it, which is encouraging because in the past, it hasn't really been on anybody's radar. So, and then I plan to meet with Dean Willis, the Dean of the School of Medicine, this next Monday, just to discuss, and Dr. Julie Philly at some point, just to discuss the growth of UT Tyler and the growth of the School of Medicine in particular. So, and that's most of what's been on my radar. I'll pass it over to Vice President Bennett.
We've been putting okay, good. It does show up on there. So we've been putting together the stuff for the midterm election watch party next week. We'll be going into that into those details later on in announcements. Hope you're excited. Going on.
Secretary Dix.
It's been a pretty slow week for me. I'm not feeling great, but I've just been working on getting posts ready. I have one ready for the watch party, but I'm probably going to do a couple more. And then the rest of my stuff is going to be in committees, even though we didn't meet this week. But
Treasurer Luna.
Hello. I'm excited, well, personally, because I'm taking a leave of absence from Walmart. So I'll actually have weekends free. And so I'm really expecting to get a lot of my schoolwork done and focus more on the organizations that I'm in as well. So I'm excited for that. When it comes to actual officer stuff, I'm going to start reaching out to groups so they know that it's almost time for finals and they won't be able to request any monies. And then yesterday I went to the history club's Kahoot night hosted by our chief of staff Peters, and I won third place twice. So as a kinesiology major, that's exciting for me. So
We need to do better as history majors. Chief of Staff Peters.
Besides history club stuff, I've just been reviewing the Constitution and creating the General Assembly time presentation for next week.
Awesome. All right, we'll move on to committee reports. Events committee.
Okay. For events committee, we were really just talking about the election watch party that's coming up this Tuesday, and then starting to get on for the finals goodie bags.
Awesome. Communications committee did not meet. Okay, awesome.
yeah, so obviously we didn't meet, but next week we're going to get started on doing the posts for each of the colleges and each of the committees. So get your headshots ready. They're going to be posted by representation, and it might be over Thanksgiving. I don't know. I'm trying to think of when most people are on their phones. So yeah, get your headshots ready because I will be asking for them.
Awesome. And then SGAC.
So this week I had Robert host just to prevent any conflict since I am in one of those groups. So we actually approved two groups. The American Society of Heating, Refrigerating, and Air Conditioning, or ASHRAE, got approved for $200.70 for Chick-fil-A, soda, and cookies for their engineering keynote speaker that they're going to have on the 17th during lunchtime, if anyone's interested. And then the Hispanic Student Association, obviously that's the one I'm a
Thanks, Kina.
We did have to deny one. It was the National Society of Black Engineers. This would have been their second time requesting funds, but they were requesting $487 for conference/travel fees, which if look the SGAC guidelines, we cannot approve that. So I had to email them, and I haven't gotten anything back. So I guess they either haven't looked at it or they got the point. It also would have passed their 500 cap for the semester, so we couldn't have done it anyways. That's everything.
And then I think the Rolling Patriots Guild, was it, that came into the office later today? They picked up their stuff for their event today. So yes, Rules Committee.
I'll just do it. Yeah, so we're working on gathering data from the registrar's office and other places so that we can form the best possible day for General Assembly. So we've just been looking at information from different sources on that.
Awesome. ESC didn't meet. Okay, that's fine. GSA. Okay. Is there any graduates here that would be willing to be a part of the Graduate Student Association, or at least to head it up? Here or on Zoom? I have one hand. For next semester, Beverly. Okay, got you. All right, cool. Just as long as I know there's at least somebody willing. All right. Moving on to student voice reports. We have the School of Nursing. That would be Senator McCain, Senator Ocampo, and Senator McNamara. Anything to report?
Yes. So was it 2 months ago or a month and a half ago, we met with Dean Chilton, and we kind of were able to talk with her about some of the expectations and some like fun ideas. And we were just kind of able to like express like what we would like to see in nursing school, and she was able to tell us some really cool information about that.
Awesome.
And then 3 weeks ago,
I think the mic might be on. The bad mic. There it goes. Here, why don't you switch out with me because mine seems to stay on.
already. Yeah. And so I met with Susan McBride, and we were able to talk about research opportunities for nursing students and trying to get that started because that seems like something she's really passionate about. And so I'm hopefully going to meet with her soon and we can talk about that. But yeah. And, classes are in full swing. Everyone's stressed, but,
Awesome. The normal life of a nursing student. Valerie. Go ahead. Okay, cool. Senator McNamara.
Is it working? Okay. Okay. So I've been in contact. I talked a little bit about like service and wanting to do more service. So I've been in contact with Todd at Path, and we got a day for house painting for the nursing students. That's going to be November 12th. It's a Saturday morning. That's going to happen. We're trying to get hours for everyone, like they can get clinical hours for that. So that'll be really fun. A bunch of nursing students painting a house. That's really cool. And then Belinda Deal is one of the professors. She was like, "Oh, I can't come. Is there anything I can donate?" So she's going to get us all snacks. So y'all are the only two nursing people here, but if you want to go, please go. So that's gonna be really cool. And then hopefully more service events going on. And then yeah, just overall stress. Yes.
Nice. Anything to report? Okay, awesome. Yeah, next we have the College of Education Psychology. Senator Vargas. Go ahead.
Recently, kind of what I've been up to is first off, just to announce not tomorrow, the 8th. I'm sorry, the 8th next week, CEP is gonna be having a career fair. I believe it's in the ballroom. It's gonna be from like 11 to 1. So we're just gonna be able to go out, just talk to a couple of different like employers and stuff. That's the first thing. The second one is also next Wednesday. Me and the rest of the other CEP senators were meeting with the interim dean, Dr. Sass. So we set up monthly meetings with her. And then the last thing I got is the last time I reported, we had talked about how the previous dean had stepped down, Dean Hickey, but now there's a search committee for that. And I just got, a couple weeks ago, I got invited to sit on that dean search committee. So that's going to be pretty interesting while we go and, look for a new dean. Our first meeting's on Monday. And so that's all I got to report.
Awesome. Senator Waller, anything to report? Nothing to report? Okay, awesome. Good job, Justin. All right, School of Medicine, Senator Perpetual Kai. Anything to report?
Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, there's nothing to report.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, and then we'll go ahead and move on to new business, seeing as there is no old business. I entertain a motion to discuss homecoming. All right. So let me go ahead and stop share the agenda. So as I mentioned earlier, I have been able to sit on the homecoming committee. Now, none of the events that you see here are set in stone, except midnight breakfast. But these are a bunch of the proposed events for homecoming. One of the ones that is also up there is that has been suggested is formal, homecoming formal. And I kind of wanted to just take this time to use y'all as a sounding board for the rest of the homecoming committee as to what students would want to see during homecoming week. This would be the the week of March 20th, by the way, just to give you an idea. Where'd the other mic go? Question. Josh is on Zoom. Yes, so that is one of the other things that has been proposed is a drone show. But probably instead of a fireworks, I imagine, but that is also kind of in the air. I don't know if it's on there. The hot air balloon is also something that is in talks. That's something that they did last year. If you got to ride it, that's cool. Yeah. So, do you all have any preference as to what you would like to see or what you would not like to see?
I think it's been kind of a tradition to have that crawfish boil and the golf cart parade kind of around the same time.
Yeah, let's ignore my typing on Boyle.
So I'm not gonna lie, I would love for the chance to be able to dunk on some of my professors and some of the faculty.
So a dunk tank. Or oh, basketball. Okay. Yeah, so that was one of the things that was suggested is that instead of doing a kickball or maybe even a baseball, softball game, is maybe have a basketball or volleyball game instead. Josh says hot air balloon will 100% be part of it. It's one of the oldest traditions. Awesome. Go ahead, Senator McGinnis.
Not too sure what it means, but I feel like the Greek show would be a good idea.
Josh, do you think you could elaborate on what the Greek show would be? Don't mean to put you on the spot.
I am not ready to share that just yet.
Okay, cool. Soiree. So I think if I'm remembering correctly, the soiree would be more of an alumni focused event. And that's some of the events that are on here is sometimes they're going to be more alumni focused because part of homecoming is trying to get alumni to come back and engage with the university. All it really is just kind of like I think a meet and greet kind of lunch, get together. Correct me if I'm wrong, Josh, on anything, but yeah. One of the questions too that is kind of being proposed, and I think I've asked a few of you already this, but as you know, all these events, throwing them is very expensive. And we try to keep them as free as possible, but to make a bigger and better homecoming event, homecoming week, it would probably require some of these events to be paid for. So I don't know. One of the suggestions was to make sure that some of the oldest traditions are still kept free, but anything new that is added is obviously paid for. How would y'all feel about that? Because one of the things on there is a concert. Actually, no, it's not on there. But so the alumni concerts that's on there, that wouldn't be completely alumni centered. There is a concert that might happen that would end with the fireworks show. So they're trying to work out who they would even ask to be part of that, trying to make sure that it would be kind of as broad genre as possible so that most people can enjoy it. So that way it's not just one genre and one group liking it. But how would y'all feel about having like a concert and then like a fireworks show like right after that? Would that be something that you would attend? Would it be something that you would pay to go to? It wouldn't be like because the thing is that the university would be paying for the concert, but in order to pay for some of it, they would have to probably have tickets that are paid for by people that are going to subsidize it and make the cost a little bit cheaper. Go ahead.
Would it be only the people that are able to attend the concert will be able to attend to see the fireworks if we do it that way?
No, so if you don't attend the concert, you can still attend to see the fireworks show.
Not gonna lie, a bonfire kind of sounds cool, but can I ask about the context of that? Like, what's the idea behind that?
So how many of you are familiar with Texas A&M or Tarleton?
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of what they have in mind as to what what they want to do for a bonfire. The problem obviously is making sure that's safe and making sure that you can find the proper location for it, which, to be honest, not really sure we have any locations for it, but no, not the plaza. No, 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 definitely not the plaza. Go ahead.
A concert ticket.
I don't have the exact quotes, but I think around $10 to $15 is what's been floated. Again, that's not set in stone, so don't quote me on that. I don't know if it'll reach.
What will that hypothetical concert be?
So the concert, if it were to happen, it would be out on the plaza. And it wouldn't just be like, I mean, if you're at the pharmacy building or somewhere, you can still hear it and everything like that, but it's going to be gated. So that way only attendees can actually be in front of the stage. Josh, am I missing anything right now?
All good.
Okay. Yeah. What is midnight breakfast? Who knows? We're not doing that. No. No. We're not calling it midnight yell. So one of the other things I actually did forget to mention is that if the bonfire were to happen, there's a chance that we would have midnight breakfast and then the bonfire would be after midnight breakfast. That is one of the ideas that's been floated right now. You would not be able to roast marshmallows or hot dogs because it would be too big to get that close to. But no. Any other questions, comments, or concerns that are serious relating to homecoming? Kina, go ahead.
This is just me thinking, since the older traditions, they are more traditional, maybe we could charge for those. I know the newer traditions, but it may kind of keep people away from trying the newer things that we add on if we do charge for that, while as the older things are more well known. And so people are more willing to pay to participate in those.
Okay, so I'll ask a question then. Those of you, would you be more willing to, if there are going to be events that you have to pay for, would you be more willing to pay for some of the older traditions that we have done? Or would you be more willing to pay for the newer events that we might have? Just a show of hands. Show of hands for newer, if you're willing to pay for the newer ones versus the old. Okay, so here it's mostly you would pay for the new events. Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So like a comedy show or like the concert or anything that is like very much like show oriented will probably be paid for or probably have to pay for. There is a question just because I'm curious, but for example, the crawfish boil. If the university were to ask like $1 to be paid for that, would you do that? Okay, what about $5? Okay. And this is just me getting feedback to bring back to the homecoming committee because I want to make sure we're as relevant as possible, but go ahead.
So is there anything for homecoming for the distance campuses?
Yes, so that is actively in conversation whenever we're talking about a lot of these events. Some of the events that we're also going to have is going to be passive. Way to go, Jorian. Some of the events that we're going to have are going to be passive too. So like, we haven't worked it all out yet, obviously, but so we've only had one meeting. But one of the passive events that we could do for across every campus is going to be like door decorations or hallway decorations and stuff like that, and then provide hopefully some sort of prize to maybe make it incentivize it a little bit more. So we'll probably have something like that. I know that's been a tradition in the past too, and I don't know if it's been expanded to distance campuses, but anytime we talk about any of these events, distance campuses are constantly on the agenda to remind ourselves. Yes, Jorian, if you have anything to say about what you would like to see, please. This is for everybody, not just main campus.
Yeah, there are tons of good things that we could talk about in terms of homecoming. I know traditionally at distance campuses, especially down here in Houston, it's not as a popular event because traditionally we haven't really done anything that big. So maybe that's something that we want to look at making more popular and getting more students excited about it. That's something we can talk about definitely. If you want to come find me, we can talk details.
I'd love to set up a meeting to talk about that too, and then maybe we could even tag in a few others just so that way get more input.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Brandon.
So say we go the route of maybe like you said, hypothetically charging $5 for the crawfish boil, but we also do a community service day. Would it be like a thing that if you attend community service day, you could actually have that fee waived then to incentivize them to go to do community service?
Could ask. I don't know if they would jump on it or not, but yeah. Any other suggestions? How would y'all feel about having a formal? Formal. Raise your hand. Okay, just raise your hand if you would go to the formal if we were to host one. Mostly everybody that's here. Okay. All right. If there's no others, go ahead, Ashlyn. Was that raising your hand for you would
Yes,
go?
no, I have a
Okay.
question.
Okay, go ahead.
How would we do a formal with so many people? Like, I know last year there was talk about having one in like the alumni house, but how do we hold that many people?
So one of the suggestions, I think what they have in mind currently would be maybe be doing it at the OAC where University Academy is and stuff. That would be one of the suggestions. That's one of the suggestions right now. Because you're right, we don't really have a lot. Like if a lot of people go, we don't have a whole lot of spaces that can support something like that. So that's probably one of the main considerations whenever we talk about doing a formal right now.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Again, you're more than welcome to say that these are terrible ideas. Midnight breakfast is yeah. Seconded. Motion has been, or it has been. I'm so used to not having to say that. Discussion has been closed. All right. I'm going to go back to the agenda. And all right. Does anybody have anything else for new business? All right. Seeing none, we'll move to advisor comments from Advisor Niavis.
All right. So the homecoming ideas that we have talked about, it's pretty exciting. I'm glad that, we're planning a lot further in advance. And as Landry mentioned, we really do want everyone's feedback on this because we really want to make sure we do things where students showed up. Last year we thought the faculty versus student kickball tournament was going to be a huge hit with students, and we were wrong. It was popular with the faculty and staff, but not so much with the students. And so we really want to make sure as we do homecoming week that we try to get it, everybody in our campus community involved, including our distance campuses. Historically, for our distance campus students, we've always done barbecue or some sort of food option with some t-shirts. And we're even talking about how do we make that even bigger for our Longview Palestine or Longview Houston campuses, and then get the Houston or Palestine's feedback to see what they would like to do or keep the traditional schedule, what we've done there. The housing presentation today, I think that, there was a lot of great questions. I think y'all should also pat yourselves on the back because y'all have consistently advocated over the years on this process to make it better. And so I think it's really exciting to be able to see those changes go into place, and we're excited to see how it works out, this upcoming housing selection. So if you do see or hear of feedback from other students, make sure to share that with Dean Petit and Christian, because they have spent a lot of time into this software and making it as smooth as possible. Other than that, I do want to comment. I really did enjoy the updates from our student voice reports. It sounds like there's a lot of great things going on in our colleges. And so just make sure for those who are upcoming in the future, really try to figure out what's going on in your area, or even meet with the dean for your college to see what's going on. And so that way you can provide that feedback for the group. And then other than that, that's all I've got.
All right, thank you. Just a round of applause here. I don't know if you can hear it. All right, just a few announcements. Of course, you know this announcement. Student Region and the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. If you're not going to apply, find somebody who is, because we want applications. And it's a very, very important and prestigious position, both of them. November 8th, election watch party. We've said this before, but just to remind you all, this is a required mandatory event. The thing that we are doing this year is that if you are not going to go to the November 8th election watch party, you will be required to hand out finals bags during finals week. So I will be reaching out to each of y'all to find out which one that you were attending. Once I have that down, then I will make sure that you will attend the finals week's finals week's bags handing out. And then of course we have Senator of the Week. I'm just kidding. It's no one, because nobody submitted anything. Again, wait, who did? What? I did not see it. Wow. Okay. Well, that's awkward. We'll have multiple Senator of the Weeks next week then to go over it. I apologize. I did not see any Senator of the Week submissions, so I will get with each one of you. Huh? All right. Cool. Motion and seconded. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, please raise your hand or do a thumbs up emoji. Any abstentions? All right. We will see y'all next week. Y'all have fun. Thank you, Zoom.
Thanks, everyone.